Yes, $30. That's the price. Not $3 million, not $30,000, not even $300. 30, possibly less. I'll tell you how in a while. But I do think it can be done, because although I was never religious, I did have a lot of, shall we say, fuzzy thoughts going on in my head, right up until my mid-20s and beyond. And I was very interested in science. I knew quite a bit about how many stars there were and how far away they were and how many stars there were in galaxies, things like that. I've always been interested in that stuff. But that wasn't enough to get rid of fuzzy thoughts. Fear of ghosts, to be honest, on one particular night. But it was a shock to find that I still had that childhood fear within me. And I was really pissed off at myself that it was still there, but I couldn't get rid of it. But I did manage to get rid of it. And I got rid of it with 3 books. 3 books, maybe, all told, maybe 700 pages. And it was all enjoyable as well. It was interesting to find out. I had so many questions about what stars were, really. Did we know? Did we really know how far away stars are? How could we know that? I'd had these questions all my life, and I didn't really think there were good answers to them. And within 3 books, I knew that there were answers, that they were so much better than I'd imagined, so much more, so rational. It made sense. All of it made sense. That's the key to me. Things making sense. I'm not talking to the atheists here. Sorry if you're listening, fellas and girls. And I'm not talking to the true believers, because they're just throwing things at the screen right now. I'm talking to those people who may consider themselves believers, but they have this tiny bit of doubt inside them. And they think that this doubt is, in some sense, part of their sinful nature, or part of their inadequacy as a person of faith, or their unworthiness for heaven. And they're trying to stamp this spark of doubt out, believing it wicked, and in some sense their own failing. And they've tried, and I'm talking to you. Admit it, that spark's there. You've tried to get rid of it, and you've not been able to. It's there during your prayers. It's there in the back of your mind when the priest is talking. It's there whenever you hear scripture. And you think it's a spark of doubt, and you try and get rid of it. But you can't. But it's not a spark of doubt. It's intelligence. It's rationality. It's the questioning, childlike part of your mind which still exists despite all the propaganda, all the bullshit that it's been thrown at you. That spark is still there, and it will always be there. And you want to be free of it, but you can't. I'm going to tell you how to be free of that. So I'm going to free you of the spark of doubt. I'm going to free you of the fear of hell. I'm going to free you of the fear of the devil. $30. The 3 books that I read in the sequence that I read them. At a certain point during the 3rd book, I felt the weight of the fuzzy thoughts just go. It's the only way to be free of doubt. That is to read books. You won't have doubt if you read science, because it will make sense. The little spark inside you which says, all of this stuff sounds kind of ridiculous, that is not going to happen with science, because science will persuade you. 3 books. It's not just going to be what we know, because that would just sound to you like opinion. It's going to be how we know what we know. That is the crucial thing. The facts and figures about the galaxies and the stars is not enough. Paradoxically, to understand the big stuff, even the Big Bang and the universe itself, you have to understand the small things, atoms, protons, neutrons and electrons. Not to the point where you can do equations, not to the point where you could pass an exam, but just to a basic conceptual level inside your mind, how it fits together, the flavour of the thing, if you like, rather than the details. But you'll need to know not just what we know, but how we know it. 3 books in sequence. Didn't just work for me, it's worked for at least one other person that I know, and took her from the fear of hell and the devil to being laughing, to be able to laugh at the ideas. It took her from doubt to not just the 3 books that I started her off on. She asked me what to do, how to be free of hell. I gave her 3 books to read in sequence. She read them, and then she went on to read many others. No longer as a means to assuage the fear of hell, but just for the sheer joy of it. Like myself, she didn't know that reading about these things could be... fun is the wrong word. Pleasurable is the right word, but it doesn't quite cover it. If you have questions, it's a very strange thing to suddenly find the answers after years of looking, after years of wondering whether the answers were there. It made me giggle like a schoolboy. It made the girl who read the 3 books giggle in places, and to want more, and to go from just the overview wasn't enough. Details were required. The meat, as we used to call it. So this method, these 3 books in this sequence: Cosmos by Carl Sagan, In Search of the Big Bang by John Gribbin, In Search of Schrodinger's Cat by John Gribbin. John Gribbin, if you see this, I want some money off you. But for the rest of you, the $30 goes to the guy or the girl in the bookshop. Ring up the bookshop now. Get out the phone book, find out your local bookshop, ring them up, ask for these 3 books. They probably won't have them in. Maybe they'll have the Carl Sagan, but they won't have the other 2. Get them to order them, give them your name, get them to give you a call when the books are in. You can do it now. You can pick up the phone and you can order those books. I'm hoping it's not going to be more than $30. And obviously, you can do it 1 book at a time if you haven't got the 30 to hand. It's not a challenge, it's an offer. If you have that doubt, if you have struggled with it, if you want to get rid of it, if you want to be free of it, you must recognize it isn't doubt, it's intelligence and the reasonableness of the child's mind telling you that the religious stuff doesn't make sense to you. Not really. You want it to, you wish it were true, but it doesn't make sense, and you know it. That doubt is going to be a pain in your ass all your life unless you get rid of it. The only way to get rid of it is with facts that you know are facts. There is such a difference between trying to believe something and knowing something to be true. Nothing I can do can explain it to you. You have to experience it for yourself. Try it. $30.